watching KWQC TV, making a difference in the Quad Cities. Live from the Quad Cities, with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel, this is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions is here to explain the importance in maintenance of your home's crawl space area. And Heidi is here for our financial moment to discuss uses for unused 529 college saving plan funds. It's part 3 in our ongoing conversation. And later, there are a lot of holiday events and fun happening at and around the John Deere Pavilion in downtown Moline. We'll talk with the organizers and help you get these events on your calendar. Welcome to Quad Cities Live on this Thursday, November 7th. Hope you're all having a great afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Kyle Keel. Morgan has the afternoon off. Well, we're going to start today with a new book release. It's called The Adventures of Kids United, The Glass Bridge. There's the very vibrant cover there on your screen. And joining us in the studio today is the author of the book, and she happens to be the president and CEO of United Way Quad Cities, Renee Gellerman. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Kyle.
How exciting that you have your first book, children's book, that is now a published book out for the world to see.
Yes, it is so exciting. It's a passion project.
Yeah.
And it's symbolic to the kind of paying tribute to the work that we do. And writing a book with just 800 words is harder than you might imagine.
Ooh, yeah, I can only imagine. You got to be very careful with the words that you use, that's for sure. So tell us about your inspiration in wanting to write this book. Obviously, I told Renee, I looked at the cover of the book, and I just knew, I saw the rainbow. I'm like, this is the Sky Bridge, isn't it? The Glass Bridge, the Sky Bridge. So obviously you take a lot of pride in the Quad Cities.
Yes,
so I'm
do.
guessing that was part of your inspiration.
Yes, I take a lot of pride in the Quad Cities. I think the catalyst to the story, I've always wanted to write a book. I think the catalyst really happened when I volunteered to be a reading buddy at Madison Elementary School. And so I read with a 3rd grader every week for 20 minutes, and I got to know her, and I learned about her family, and she had some difficult situations that she had in her at home. And I realized that sometimes people don't know they have potential until you tell them.
Yeah.
And so I talked to her about her own unique talents and what she loved to do, what she was passionate about. And we talked about that she could use those talents to really change the world. She could help a neighbor, she could help her teachers, and that her future was only defined by the size of her dreams.
Definitely. Oh, that's an awesome message. So what kind of message do you want kids to take away when they read this story?
I want kids to realize that they have superpowers.
Yes.
And it really is a theme about being a superhero, and they have superpowers, and their superpowers are their own talents. And how do they stay committed to those talents? How do they nurture the talents? And they can use those to make the community better, and they can use them to shape the future that they want.
So talk about the characters in the book, because they all represent your children at home.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. You know, part of the book is also I wanted to pay tribute to those things that mean the most to me.
Yes.
The Quad Cities means a lot to me. The Sky Bridge has a strong meaning behind it in the book. And I wanted to pay tribute to my kids too, who each have their own unique personalities and unique talents. And they've really overcome some challenges, and they've achieved great things in their lives, and I wanted to demonstrate how proud I am of them.
Yeah.
But because they're so unique, each one of them, they made great characters.
And it's important to get across that each child is unique. Everyone has their own unique way of doing things, unique perspective. So it's okay to have your own way of looking at things and doing things. So I think that's a great message to get across. So real quick, I'm just reading kind of the back here. We've got Gabby Giggly and her friends. So I'm guessing that adjective has to do with how Gabby is. Is she pretty giggly?
She's very giggly.
I
yes,
love it.
she is. Yes.
So the characters definitely represent the true life of your children. So talk about the impact that this has as far as United Way, and what this book means in your overall, I guess, a thing you do at the United Way for the community.
Well, all the proceeds to the book we're donating back to United Way, that they will fund literacy programs to really accelerate some of the work we're already doing. So we already invest and activate volunteers to do this reading mentoring. But when you look at the trajectory of reading proficiency of 3rd grade students, we have been flat for a number of years. In fact, we've even gone down since pre-COVID. and we haven't gotten back to that point. So literacy is a really critical issue for kids because you learn to read up till 3rd grade, and then when you hit that milestone, you're really reading to learn.
Sure.
It's a big predictor. It's the #1 predictor of life success.
Yeah.
And so right now we have about 45% of students in the Quad Cities, 3rd graders, that are not reading proficiently.
45%.
45%.
Oh, that's a big chunk.
And so the proceeds are going back because we need to accelerate those efforts. I wanted it to shine a light on this challenge. And this is, with all the problems we face in the world and even in our own community, literacy, reading proficiency is a problem we can solve.
Yes.
We just need to have all hands on deck and really direct and focus some efforts. So proceeds go to United Way to fund our literacy efforts.
Yeah, and speaking of those literacy efforts, that's where the Kids United program comes in.
Yes.
This is a very important program for United Way.
Yes. So the last part of this year, we're really going to focus on literacy. We're going to highlight some young kids in our community. Our emerging leaders have stepped up and they have taken on this campaign. They're raising money by either selling the books, asking for contributions, so that we can get a book in every 2nd grader's hands in the Quad Cities, which is about 3,000 kids.
I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think we can too.
And a very important cause to be a part of as well. So tell us how we can get our hands on this book.
You can go to our website, unitedwayqc.org, or you can buy them at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and many other sites online where books are sold.
Yeah, so the illustrations are great. I mean, this is a perfect kids book. You've got the words. There's not too much words on the page, and there's very vibrant colors and pictures in here as well.
It's perfect for a 5 to 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And we also create an activity kit that goes along with it. People can download that activity kit and really think through some of the concepts in it.
Yeah, so we always see the commercials of United Way in the Quad Cities. What do you want our viewers to know about your organization and the involvement in the Quad Cities?
I'd love for the community to know that we mobilize people and resources to help improve lives throughout the Quad Cities.
That's what it's all about,
yeah.
That's what it's all about. Well, Renee, thank you so much.
Thanks,
and if
Kyle.
you want to learn more about United Way Quad Cities and the programs the organization offers and how you can help Quad Cityans live that healthy, happy life, you can visit unitedwayqc.org. And as Renee mentioned, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the local bookstore, you can get your hands on The Adventures of Kids United, The Glass Bridge. Renee, thanks so much for joining us
today. Thanks, Kyle.
You're welcome. All right, well, up next on QCL, our financial moment with Heidi. We're going to dive deeper into unused funds in the 529 college savings plans. That's next.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
If you've been to college, you don't need me to tell you how expensive it is. It can be very costly, from tuition to room and board to books. The dollars add up quickly. And if you have a young one at home, now is the time to consider investing in a 529 college saving plan. Heidi Hugheskamp-Collins is joining us now for our financial moment. And Heidi, we're continuing our conversation on 529 savings accounts. This is a 3-part series, so kind of review what you and Morgan talked about for the first 2 parts.
Right. So the first part, we talked about really what a 529 college savings plan is.
Yeah.
It's an account that an adult sets up for a beneficiary, which is a child, a student, and then those monies that are saved over the years until the student gets to be college age grow tax-free, and then they're allowed to be spent on upper, education.
Yeah.
And all those costs, you can take that money out and it's tax-free. It's never taxed. So all that growth is tax-free, which is one of the best deals that the IRS
Almost
gives
definitely.
us.
It's a great investment, that's for sure. So, we're out of college now, but we still have some unused money in that savings plan. So, can we use that to pay off our student loans?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We talked last time about how, who else in your family can use them, but you can also use that money that's left over to pay off student loans, $10,000 per person.
Okay.
But so, if you had a 529, and you were the beneficiary, you could pay off $10,000 of a loan.
Okay.
And any of your siblings who had student debt could pay off $10,000 of their student loans.
Okay. So only $10,000. So say I have, I don't know, $17,000 in my 529 plan. I can only use $10,000 of that to pay off the student loans?
You can only use 10 for yourself, but
Okay.
you could give that to somebody else. You could, another sibling.
Got you. Okay. So also with that leftover money, say you don't have the college debt of the student loans, you can use this for your own children to pay for kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yes.
Okay.
K through 12 is an option. You can pay for K through 12 expenses for private schools.
Private schools only?
For private schools, and it's only for tuition. So with a 529 plan, if you're talking about college, it also pays for room and board and books and computers and internet and that kind of thing. For K through 12, it's only tuition. The other costs are not eligible.
Okay.
But there's another thing. It is tax and penalty free on the federal level. So you're not going to pay the federal government if you take money out for K through 12 tuition, not taxes or penalties on those monies for the federal level. But it could be on the state level.
Really?
In the state of Iowa, it is allowable to take money out and use that for K through 12 tuition. In Illinois, it's not allowable. So if you live in Illinois, you will pay taxes and penalties on that money.
Interesting. So each state has different
state is
rules
different.
as far as the taxes go. But on the federal level, we're good.
On the federal level, you're good. The other thing, though, this money really is intended for college. So if you take out the money early, it's $10,000 per year that you can use for tuition.
Okay.
So $10,000 per year is quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, but this money, you know, at the end of the day, is meant for college. So if you take out the money for K through 12, you're losing that compounding that was the whole reason why you put the money into a tax-free account in the first place.
Sure. Okay. So, I mean, would you say that, hey, once my child is born, should I get this plan going now, or is it best to do it earlier rather than later?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I get a lot of people who, you know, they have newborns. As soon as they get their Social Security number, they're in opening up a 529 plan.
So what happens if you open up a 529 plan for your son or daughter who's just born, and then they decide in high school, I'm probably going to go to a trade school, or I'm just going to go straight to the workplace?
If they go straight to the workplace, then they can use it for another reason. But if it's for trade school, beauty school, certifications, it can be used.
Oh, that's awesome.
Another really cool thing that unused funds can be used for is Roth IRAs.
Yes. There we go, the Roth IRA.
This is brand new.
Yes.
So, couple caveats.
Okay.
You have to have that money in a 529 plan for 15 years. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's got to be sitting there.
And the money that you're going to take out to fund the Roth IRA has to have been in that Roth IRA. So the account has to be open for at least 15 years.
Okay.
But the money that was deposited has to be there at least 5 years.
Okay.
Now, when we're talking about Roth IRAs, and we've talked about this in the past, there are maximum contribution amounts every year. In 2024, the maximum contribution, if you're under 50 years of age, is $7,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to use an example. Okay. So let's just pretend that I have a client, Ann, and Ann has a daughter, Megan, and Ann set up a 529 college savings account for Megan when she was a child. Okay. Megan has finished her schooling. She's out in the work world, and so she's had the 529 plan since she was born. So it's been in the account. You know, she's had an account 15 years or more. And let's pretend that Ann, in the year 2017, put $10,000 in that account. Okay. Okay. More than 5 years, the money has been sitting in the account. Ann can take $7,000, the maximum, in 2024, and put that into a Roth IRA for Megan.
Okay. So it's just a maximum of $7,000, and that's it.
Right, for that year.
For that year. So it's per year?
It's per year.
Okay.
And you could do $7,000 or whatever the maximum is, because it changes every year, up to $35,000 for that individual. Okay. So over time, you can set aside $35,000 as of the tax code right now for for that person.
Okay. And so this can always change.
It can always change.
It can always change. So always be sure to invest in a financial expert who can kind of lead you on the path of these things and let you know when things change. But if you want to learn more about the variety of services that Heidi offers, you can visit her website, hhcinvestments.net. And a reminder, you can see previous segments with Heidi by visiting kwqc.com and clicking the Quad Cities Live tab. As always, Heidi, thank you for your insight and your expertise. We
Good
really
to be
appreciate
here.
it. Yes, absolutely. We'll see you next time. All right, well, up next, Adam is here from Ace Waterproofing along with another expert to explain why we should be maintaining our crawl spaces and answer the basic question, what is a crawl space? Stick with us.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
All right, question for you. When is the last time you checked your home's crawl space? Did you know that it should be checked at least once per year? Well, crawl spaces are the topic of today's discussion with Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions. Adam Ellis is the owner of Ace and is here to help answer our questions, and he's joined by Chris DeVore, who is an expert in this service. Gentlemen, thank you both for taking the time to be here today.
Appreciate you having us.
So I'm going to be honest. I had the wrong idea about crawl spaces as I asked Adam when he came in. So let's define a crawl space.
So a crawl space is generally defined as anything under 7 feet,
Okay.
Generally with a dirt floor.
Okay.
So you can have an 8-foot basement with a dirt floor, and we would still call that like a dirt floor basement.
Okay.
But generally anything that's under about 7 feet would be considered a crawl space.
Okay, and usually these are average between 1 and 4 feet in height. So it definitely somewhere where you'll have to get down and crawl. So what kind of issues can come up in these crawl spaces that you need an expert in to help manage it?
So an open earth crawl space there's lots of different issues that can come up with an open earth crawl space. Essentially, your home is open to just basically a dirt dirt floor.
Right.
So you have radon gases that can come up.
Sure.
Moisture that comes through that soil, which is generally the cause of mold, wood rot, weak and bouncy floors. So there's lots of things that can happen in a crawl space. It's just really depending on where the house is, what the water table is, all really contribute to the kind of problems that the crawl space will have.
So how would you know that you have a problem in a crawl space? What signs should people be looking for in their home?
Bouncy, saggy floors is a big one.
Okay.
If you leave the house for a weekend and you come back and you smell like kind of a stale, musty smell,
Oh, sure.
generally that means that the gases are coming up through the floor. They're getting caught in your carpet and your furnishings,
Yeah.
and you smell that because there's no air exchange.
Sure, okay.
So generally that's where people will call us, and if you see if you have a crawl space, not everybody has a crawl space, but
Yeah.
if you have a crawl space and you experience lots of insects and spiders and things, that's generally an indication that you have issues with your crawl space.
And we're looking at some of the before and after pictures of when you guys get in there and help kind of clean up that crawl space as well. So pretty impressive work that you guys can do. So how do we alleviate these gases building up?
So we do, it's called an encapsulation. So isolating the home from the earth is what we need to do, and we need to seal all the outside air off. Old crawl space thinking was you want to have airflow in that crawl space.
Sure.
So there was vents that were originally installed. The problem with that is that Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. And so in the summer, you're allowing hot, humid air to come in. And when you have a temperature differentiation between your building materials and the air that's circulating,
Yeah.
condensation and moisture will then form on that,
Yeah.
causing lots of different issues, mold and bouncy floors. The other thing in the winter,
Yeah.
those vents will allow cold air in. Well, your heating ducts for the main floor generally run in the crawl space. Well, now your HVAC system has to work harder in order to continue to warm the space on that main floor because all of the ducts are now exposed to that colder air that's coming in the winter.
So this is all kind of connected to one another, and really, I mean, this is a science.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a science if you look at it. So, we mentioned that you should get this checked at least once per year. Is there a time where maybe we need to get it checked a little more often?
Really, it's if you're maintaining your crawl space, if you look in there and you see standing water, you smell, different sort of odd smells that you're not used to smelling in the house. Your floors are cold in the winter. Those are all things that we generally get calls for that people want us to address.
Okay.
Another big thing is a high presence of insects, rodents. They like humid, damp, dark spaces. So that is another major telltale sign that you'd benefit from an encapsulation.
Okay, so not necessarily bugs and rodents in your basement or crawl space area, but even around your house?
If they're in there, they're going to find their way into
Okay.
any space you don't want them.
All right, so that would be a sign to get ACE out there and kind of get an inspection done. So speaking of the inspections, you guys do these for free, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you call in, go to our website, Google us, set up an appointment. We'll send out a certified foundation specialist. We'll come out and do a free inspection for you.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about encapsulation, because some people might get that confused with insulation. It doesn't necessarily keep the heat in, right?
Right. So there's a couple of different misnomers.
Yeah.
So encapsulation is where you're actually sealing everything off,
Okay.
sealing the doors, the vents, and then actually taping and sealing all the seams. There's a vapor barrier, which is some people will kind of they'll misgeneralize a vapor barrier as an encapsulation, which is basically just a loose laid material on the floor. So some people will look in their crawl space and say, I have an encapsulation.
Yeah.
But really what they have is like a see-through 6 mil plastic that a contractor just laid down. Well, when your seams aren't sealed, those gases and that moisture can still make it up and affect your building materials and, again, create all those other things. Insulation is more of what we would consider a thermal barrier. Encapsulation is more of a vapor barrier. So when you're talking about insulation and encapsulation, we do all of that. So if somebody has cold floors and things like that, we will encapsulate, which will create that vapor barrier. And then by adding insulation, we now create a thermal barrier.
And this is why you need the experts to check on this stuff for you. I'm learning a lot today. So, say someone's watching at home right now, they're just maybe paranoid. Will you come check things out, even if there's no concern?
Absolutely.
Okay, so all you have to do is just contact ACE at acewbs.com, and to call for a free estimate, you can dial the number on your screen. That's 563-449-2678, and of course you can go to the ACE website to get a look at all the services that they provide and follow along. And hopefully, if you have a crawl space, I don't know if. Does everyone have a crawl space?
Nope, it varies.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think I do, because I've been in every inch of my house, and I don't think
a lot of these issues can arise in basements, and we'd be more than happy to come and take a look there as well.
All right, Adam and Chris, thank you both for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Of course. Well, in our next half hour of QCL, it's time to get in the holiday spirit. We'll learn more about some of the holiday events happening in downtown Moline. And it's open enrollment time. Quad City Bank and Trust is here to explain the benefits of a health savings account. And we finally saw some sunshine after some gloomy days across the QCA, but we do have some more rain on the way. Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland times it out, coming up in your First Alert forecast after the break.
And now your First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland.
Well, as I was walking today between 11 and noon in my beautiful neighborhood, I thought it really doesn't get much better than this for early November. Sunshine, temperatures around 60, not a lot of wind, and of course we've got that blue sky reflecting on our little part of the Mississippi River that we're so happy crosses through our neighborhood, and a little towboat down there as well. Here's a look at our evening forecast. We'll quickly drop back into the 40s as we go through the next few hours, with mid-30s again overnight. Boy, we got some low 30s for lows this morning. I'll show you those in a moment. So it did start out pretty chilly, and with sunshine at least to begin our Friday. There you see we start bringing in clouds around the middle of the day. We'll get those temperatures back well into the 50s to near 60 in a few spots, but that's the trend. We'll start off sunny. We'll see a few clouds trickle through our sky later in the day. Those clouds indicate that we've got a weather system coming our way for Saturday, which will give most of us at least a little bit of rain. Doesn't look like a very major system by any means. 34 our low in the Quad Cities this morning. Look over my shoulder, that is right where we should be, but 31 in Davenport, 30 in Maquoketa. So maybe some of those backyard thermometers in areas north of Highway 30 hit 29 or 28 in some of the colder locations. But here is a nice warm location in the Quad Cities with those temperatures now around 60 degrees. Clear skies, but there's the system. Moisture streaming into the Central Plains. That's what will eventually move our way Saturday, and we swing a little wave of rain through here late in the morning through the afternoon. Right now, as we look outside, 59 degrees in the Quad Cities, 55 in Galesburg, 58 in Muscatine, 55 in Galena, and beautiful Savannah with 58 degrees in Maquoketa. Here's Exact Track keeping us clear through the evening. Watch what happens though as we start our Friday. We'll do it with sun, but as we get closer to the afternoon, we start to see more clouds streaming in from the west. We'll still maintain a lot of sunshine into the afternoon and mainly clear skies early in the evening with lows tonight in the mid-30s, and then we'll see highs tomorrow right around 60 degrees as we switch our winds around. And as we get into Friday night and Saturday, we really cloud up Saturday through the morning hours into the afternoon. Again, it's not going to be a lot of rain, but scattered showers will likely cover the whole viewing area as that wave slips on through. And then for Sunday, if we see any sun, it's going to be limited to maybe the morning hours because we get some more clouds streaking back in from the north and west. And with those clouds, we can't rule out, at least early in the day, maybe an isolated sprinkle or some drizzle. So we get the rain chances mainly Saturday and then again toward the middle of next week. So we look outside right now and it is a beautiful day, Kyle. Again, temperatures right now well into the 50s to near 60. We'll do it again early tomorrow before the clouds come back.
Yeah, probably a perfect day to maybe get out there, rake some of those leaves into a pile and let your kids jump in them as my wife is doing at home. She's got a picture of my daughter living her best life in the leaves.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Good day for it.
You just read the first thing on my weekend to-do list. Take care of some leaves.
Oh gosh, I know. Mine's all over the place.
I have no kids to jump in them. Maybe I'll just take
I was going to say, you do it. Take Rupert out there too. Maybe he'll enjoy it.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much, Eric. Well, next on QCL, there are a lot of holiday events happening in downtown Moline. Starting as early as this Friday, we'll get the scoop from organizers next.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
Now that Halloween is behind us, the focus is on the holidays here in the Quad Cities. And one place that will be hopping starting later this week is downtown Moline. The annual Holiday Hop is just the start of a busy month of events in the Quad Cities' second largest city.
The John Deere Pavilion really is a focal point for downtown. Obviously, it's a beautiful building. We have our equipment in here. There's that thing of that Deere effect. We bring a lot of out-of-town visitors, but also community into the pavilion. And when they're down here visiting area businesses and restaurants or going to the Vibrant Arena for an event, they like to stop by here, and it's a really nice place to have here in the Quad Cities.
The Holiday Hop event is our biggest event that we do downtown for the year. We do it annually, and it's sort of the traditional kickoff to the holiday season in downtown Moline. This year we have around 40 different locations that are participating, and like we've done in previous years, we have 2 trolleys that make a circuit along with ADA paratransit. So during the event, which is this coming November 8th and 9th, Friday and Saturday, the trolleys and the buses make the circuit throughout downtown. People can ride those for free. And then the different merchants have different activities and specials and promotions that they do at their location to celebrate the holidays and kind of kick off the holidays. So one of the trolley stops is located right outside of the pavilion here, and there's about 10 different locations in this area that are participating in Holiday Hop. It's a way to bring people downtown and introduce them to downtown Moline Center if they haven't been here before. And obviously we want them to come back other times of the year, but people mark it on their calendar when Holiday Hop is coming up and make an effort to come down. And so it's a way to kind of raise awareness for what the downtown is all about at least once a year, and bring people back down other times of the year as well.
So one thing that we're really excited about is November 15th, there's the Quad City Showdown. That's the Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball team is playing the Washington State Cougars. Two players that are on the Hawkeye roster played here in Moline and led their 2022 Moline High School to a state championship.
And this community has been nothing but great to my family, to me and my younger brother. Just being able to come back and play in front of my friends and family, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait.
A lot of people supported me in high school, but I think now getting into college, I have a little bit, some of the people that we played in high school, some of the schools we played, they've kind of started to support me as well, and that's been truly a blessing. So to be able to come back here and bring Iowa basketball here for them, I think it's just going to be a really exciting game, and I think a lot of people are super excited for it.
We will be presenting sponsor. We have Davenport Community Schools there at the game, students and administrators and teachers. As well, we'll have a free throw line, a John Deere charity free throw line. So every free throw made during the game, we will be donating to Davenport schools. The university oftentimes has a Hawkeye huddle that happens at away games of sporting events for their teams. And so this Hawkeye huddle is happening at the John Deere Pavilion on the 15th. And so from 4 to 7 o'clock, people can come down. We're going to have a tent. We're going to have food and drinks for purchase, games, some music, also potentially some guests, some special guests arriving for that event as well.
They're going to come and watch great basketball. They enjoy the game. They want to see great basketball. We're playing a tremendous team in Washington State. You know, it's a marquee matchup on our schedule and a first-class arena. And I think anybody that enjoys the game will enjoy this one.
The biggest event of the year for John Deere Pavilion is really our Lighting on the Commons event. That event generally brings 2,000 to 3,000 people here every year. So on November 23rd, it's always it's the Saturday before Thanksgiving every year. Between 4 and 6 o'clock, come down to the John Deere Pavilion. We have Santa Claus and his elves. We have horse and carriage rides. We have live music, cookies and hot chocolate for everyone. And, you can stay, you can hang out with your family and friends, wait for the countdown where we actually light the commons at 6 o'clock, and then we have fireworks to follow. When kids come into the John Deere Pavilion and see the large combine that's sitting next to me here, their eyes light up. And it's similar feeling during Lighting on the Commons. We have a countdown. The entire patio and outside around us goes dark. And we count down to the lights coming on. And there's lights on the pavilion, there's lights on the trees, there's a Christmas tree across the way at the Vibrant. It just really is like an uplifting moment that really feels good for I think the community and everyone involved in the event. The Quad Cities really continues to flourish, and I think John Deere is a part of that. And we're really happy to have things inside the pavilion, out on our patio, and just be in the mix of things that are happening here in the community.
Always a lot of excitement here in the Quad Cities. Well, up next, it's open enrollment time. Quad City Bank and Trust is here to help explain what a health savings account can do for you.
Enjoy autumn with Hello Autumn. Each week right here on TV6.
Friday on QCL, KWQC is hosting our Rotary Blanket Drive in collaboration with the Bettendorf Rotary. Be sure to come by the station between 8 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. to donate new or gently used blankets. We'll check in on the drive tomorrow. And the city of Geneseo is hosting a Christmas open house featuring the first lighting of a new tree for the downtown area. We'll sit down with a chamber member and get all the details when you join us for a Friday edition of Quad Cities Live. Well, 'tis the season, not for Christmas, but for open enrollment. Many of us are selecting our benefits for the next year. And when deciding on your health care plan, you may come across an option to have a health savings account to go along with your plan. Quad City Bank and Trust is here to answer our questions about HSAs. Please welcome Julie Heglin. She's the first Vice President and Director of Retail Banking, as well as Lynn Lear, the Vice President and Branch Manager. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, I think that HSAs, health savings accounts, they can make people a little bit nervous because they're like, what is this? So what exactly is a health savings account?
Right, a health savings account is a great option for folks that, as they're making those important decisions with their selecting the right medical insurance plan, if they decide on a high deductible health care plan, they have the option of pairing it with a health savings account. So a health savings account is a great way for you to make contributions into an account so that you can save for qualified medical expenses that come up.
Okay.
And some of the great benefits of a health savings account, also known as an HSA, we like to say, so we might refer to that many times.
Sure.
An HSA is that it's tax advantage, and that the money that you set aside is for those qualified medical expenses can cover very common things that you do every day. Like you go to the doctor for your co-payments, you go to the pharmacy, you can pay for your prescription drugs, dental care, contacts, Band-Aids. There's so many things that can be covered with a health savings account.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that things that maybe your main health plan wouldn't cover, you can use that health savings account to cover that prescription that, you may have to spend $15 or $20 on, but you might not necessarily have that in your pocket.
Right, exactly. Okay. That's why it's so important to contribute to your health savings account, so that way when you do have things that come up, you have funds to fall back on and easily, present that for payment.
Okay, and let's be very clear, you don't have to have one of these, but it definitely is a benefit to have that.
Absolutely, it's a huge benefit. Health savings accounts have really taken off the last few years because there are so many benefits with the account. Not only does it help you save for those future medical expenses that come up, but it also has some fantastic tax advantages that people may not know about, and so that's really important to understand. So the money that you put into a health savings account, the contributions, that can reduce your taxable income.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and on top of that,
benefit.
Yeah, big benefit. Also, the money that's in the account, if it's earning interest, you're not going to be taxed on any of those funds. And as long as you use your HSA for qualified medical expenses, you're not going to pay taxes on those funds when you spend it.
All right, so say, we've reached the end of the year, which we are now. I have a health savings account from this past year. I've got some extra money laying around. Do I use it or lose it, or does it kind of transfer over to the next year?
That is a great question, because there are accounts out there where you could potentially lose it, but with a health savings account, it doesn't work that way. So the rule of use it or lose it doesn't apply.
Okay.
Your funds will carry over from year to year.
Oh, that's great.
I like to say it's a save it, use it, or never lose it kind of account, because a lot of people are catching on to that, and they're building up their balances, and they're using this as a great way to save for retirement in the future.
Knowledge is power, so if you have that knowledge, it can really benefit you in the long run. So Lynn, I wanted to bring you into the conversation because it's important to maybe have a health savings account with a local bank such as Quad City Bank and Trust.
Right. It's very good to go with a regular bank for a lot of reasons, because HSAs can be challenging because as you talked about, the tax implications, the contribution limits, how to use the funds in the account, everybody's got some questions. But at Quad City Bank and Trust, we have a dedicated group of bankers that will sit down with you and will explain all the things that go on with the account, how to use it, how to take advantage of those benefits.
Okay, so do I have to contact you all, or does the company I work for need to contact you about HSA?
Yeah, good question. If you're a business owner and you offer a health savings account eligible plan, health plan for your employees, we offer a really great work benefit where we will actually come to your business.
Really?
We bring the bank to you. Our team members will sit down and talk with your employees. We make it as convenient and as easy as possible by actually working with the employees at your business and facilitating opening an account there. But if you're an individual, you can go to any one of our 5 locations and talk to any of our bankers. They are educated and they can help you with that too.
So really, that's great that you all will actually go to the business. That makes it a lot easier to have the experts actually on site as opposed to the employer trying to explain it, because it can get a little complicated. I mean, if you're just looking over the plan, I'll admit, when I was doing my benefits, I had to ask my wife about it. She knew more about it like me, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who see that and they're like, I don't really know much about this. I'm just going to waive this one for this year. So it's important to have that knowledge. So, we know that Quad City Bank and Trust is very involved in the Quad Cities community. Why is that so important to your organization?
Well, we love to give back.
Yes.
And we love to make the Quad Cities a better place.
Yeah.
So right now, we encourage, the employees are all encouraged to volunteer their time.
Yeah.
And our goal is set that we're trying to get 8,000 hours.
8,000
if we get
hours.
that, that'll break down to actually being 22 hours per day of volunteer time every day of the year.
Really? And we're seeing some of the stats on the screen. So last year you had 7,600, a little more than that. So we're hoping to get to that 8,000. So we've got, what, a month and a half left, a little more than that. Do you think you're getting close?
We are hoping for it, and we're doing well. Right now, employees have volunteered with several of the local area businesses, big and small. We've met with over 180 local organizations, so we're trying to get there.
That's great. I love that you're supporting the Quad Cities community, and then the community supports you as well. So if you'd like more information on opening a bank account at Quad City Bank and Trust, maybe you have some questions about HSAs, and maybe you want to get more on the involvement in the community, you can visit qcbt.bank, or you can give them a call at the number on your screen. Julie and Lynn, thank you so much. Hopefully this kind of clears up some questions about those HSAs. Thank you for joining us today, Lynn. Thank you for watching Quad Cities Live. Your local news at 4 is up next. Thank you.